Hey everyone, my name is Keyshawn. For those of you that haven't met, I currently work as a software engineer at Slack, and I'm one of the founders from T&E. So before, like Geetanjali was mentioning, we'll go over kind of what T&E is, share a little bit more about the vision, what we're looking to build, and then share more about the teams that we're looking to build out over the next few weeks. But to kick things off, I'll pass it over to Will, who will introduce himself and get us started.
Perfect. Thanks, Keyshawn. Hey, everyone. I'm Will, one of the co-founders of CMU T&E. I currently run a recruiting company called Recruiting from Scratch, and I'm based in New York. And thanks everyone for showing up. I see some familiar faces, but it's great to see that we have 58 people in this meeting, and a lot of really excited to get this started. So, what is CMU Tech and Entrepreneurship? Really, what we're trying to build is a community that empowers alumni to really achieve their goals in tech and entrepreneurship, inspire them to really dream bigger and maximize their potential. This is one of the, really exciting things when I started throwing events, really to build a strong community and no longer be compared to other schools, which I won't mention, to really put CMU's brand up there. And really, CMU is run by a team of passionate volunteers, alumni, around the world. So started in San Francisco, but, now it covers the entire globe, which is very cool to see, especially when we have meetings when people are on basically every time zone in the world is pretty awesome. You want to go to the next slide for me? Cool. And I'll just give you a little timeline of CMU Tech and Entrepreneurship. So I started throwing events in San Francisco. It was actually called Entrepreneurs of the Bay Area. It's really focused, just given I lived in San Francisco, really just focused on bringing the community together there, especially, people, entrepreneurs that were from CMU. It started with basically speaker sessions. That was about it. Keyshawn had moved to the Bay Area, and that's when we came together and founded CMU TIBA, which Tech and Entrepreneurship Bay Area, which really hosted panels, happy hours, hikes, founder summits, and started with our Slack community. I had moved to New York and started CMU T&E New York, and then during COVID, we just happened to go crazy and launch a bunch of other chapters. We kind of realized there was, a downside of launching other chapters. So that's where most recently we've come together and merged a lot of them, to form CMU T&E, just to one centralized organization. Cool. And I'll pass it over to Keyshawn to take over and talk more about the current org.
Yeah, so as Will was mentioning, throughout 2020, especially, we've kind of transformed T&E into a global organization. So we have alumni from all over the world across 11 chapters. But as we were organizing things throughout 2020, obviously things had to move virtually. And what we found was that alumni were getting so much more value from getting connected with alums across the globe. And the fact that we were organizing programming that was open to everybody really made it more accessible, and people found it valuable to be able to attend a lot more freely. So a big movement that you've probably seen over the past several weeks is we're really consolidating and centralizing a lot of things across the T&E. So moving forward, there'll be a lot more centralized programming. There'll be a unified Slack, which is meant to bring all alumni together. And all the events that we'll host, at least in the short term, will be more focused on virtually. So this is really with the vision of how do we connect the entire ecosystem together? And we're really excited to kind of centralize the org to bring all alumni together. So where we are today, we have over 5,000 CMU alums that are part of the CMU T&E network. And so much of this growth, it just came from 2020 alone. So about 3,000 of these folks joined in 2020 as we expanded chapters and continued growing it. We have a very large Slack community. Right now, there's Slack communities for each of these chapters, but over the next week, we're going to be consolidating that as well. The Slack is really a great way to connect with other alums, share opportunities, share resources, and get the support and help that you need. And finally, just to give you a sense of the scale of the events that we hosted last year in 2020 alone, we hosted 75 events virtually across all our chapters. So we're really excited to continue this momentum moving forward, but also just host programming and opportunities that are available for the entire CMU community. And none of this would have been possible without our strong partnerships and support from the university, but especially these groups. Dave from the Swartz Center has been incredibly supportive for all of our efforts. The Swartz Center leads the entrepreneurship initiatives across CMU campus and the alumni as well. So this is a very close collaboration with them. And then both Melissa and Jen, we work really closely with from the Alumni Association and the Silicon Valley campus as well. So all of this is kind of in the broader goal of how do we make CMU more successful, and we're really grateful for their support and partnership there. So a little bit about what we're tactically trying to achieve with this community. Like we've talked about, first piece is just globally connecting the entire community together. And a core part of this is how do we help foster the connections and opportunities across the network. So a big part is bringing everyone together, but we see software playing as a really key part of being able to connect people in the right way to the right people. Another goal that I know our team is specifically really excited about is really helping support founders and 10xing the number of CMU founders. I think without a doubt, CMU has among the most talented as well as hardworking alumni. So we're really excited to increase our focus on helping give them more inspiration as well as the support to help them succeed as they're kind of starting their journeys of building companies and scaling their companies. And then finally, a big part of what we're building is really trying to foster a stronger entrepreneurship culture and really make CMU the #1 choice for anyone interested in entrepreneurship. So we have so many successes, and usually when you hear about the big names, you hear about Stanford and MIT and the successes they had, but we have so many CMU successes as well. So a big part of our focus will be how do we really celebrate the wins and the incredible things that alums are building, and then how do we continue to create more successes moving forward. Next slide. So what are we trying to build in the longer term? So our vision is to make CMU the #1 driver for innovation in the world. And this is certainly a ambitious vision, but we really think we can do this by creating a strong ecosystem where we can create a strongly connected web across the entire CMU community. So the vision of CMU T&E is to serve people from when they get involved with the CMU ecosystem all the way to when they retire. So you can imagine there's someone who's applying to colleges and they're interested in entrepreneurship. So they see CMU as that #1 brand and #1 place to go for entrepreneurship, both for the education, but as well as the support from the community. So they go to CMU as they're going through their 4 years at CMU, they're able to tap into the CMU T&E network to get the mentorship and internships they need to figure out how they want to navigate their career. As they're looking for full-time jobs, they're able to understand and have transparency into like the top CMU startups and what they're building. They're able to join something that's a really strong fit for what they're looking for. And then as they go through their career, whether they're transitioning to manager or looking for the next opportunity, we're able to connect them with the right people and the right opportunities that is really best that matches their personal interests and career ambitions. And then maybe towards the end of their career, or even in the middle, they might decide they want to start a company or even kind of invest back in the community as an angel or a mentor. So as you can see, no matter where you are in your career or what you're looking for, we want CMU T&E to be the network that helps you connect to the best people, the best opportunities, and the best resources that really helps maximize your success. And everything that we're building here is really strongly centered around community. So all alumni are connected together, but it's really centered around a strong sense of service where no matter where you are, everyone is able to give back and help in some other way. So we're really focused on building the infrastructure facilitated by software to really help connect the right people and the right opportunities together as they succeed. So as we build this out, we really think that this kind of web model in which we can connect the entire community together in the right manner will really help us make CMU the number one university and community for tech and entrepreneurship. We can skip over this for now. So our team is certainly excited for the ambition that we have for driving this vision forward, but how do we kind of ground that into what we're looking to do this year? So we really have 3 kind of core pillars for how we're thinking about our focus for 2021. The first is growing and building an amazing team. I think without a doubt, there's so much that we want to tackle, and having a strong team, strong, passionate team that really cares about giving back is going to be the real core focus for this. So as we'll share about all the teams that we're building out over the next few weeks, we're really looking to build this team together to set us up to continue to execute on the vision that we have. And then the other two core pillars that we have is first is creating a really strong community experience. So this is connecting everybody in the community together and really kind of building the infrastructure to help facilitate the right connections, sharing the right opportunities, whether it's through a job board platform, creating marketplaces for connecting founders and investors or founders and talent, and just creating kind of individual communities for people that are to meet other like-minded folks. And then finally, we're really excited to invest in supporting founders and builders. So this is giving them the support, the infrastructure, and the resources to really help accelerate their success. And these are the teams that we're looking to build out immediately. So you'll hear from all the heads for these teams. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be putting these teams together, and each of these teams will have about 4 folks each. So each of the teams will have a very clear focus on driving one of these core efforts moving forward. So you'll hear a little bit about each of them, and that'll kind of give you a little bit more color on how we're thinking about it and what each team will be focusing on. And again, hopefully many of you are here and considering joining the team. These are some of the values that the team really puts first. The first is service. Everything that we do is really in service of the community and supporting fellow CMU alumni. We also really like to consider ourselves as a dream team. So this is not just a team that you'll build lifelong relationships with, but we also really value pushing each other. So we want to bring together folks that are really passionate and willing to kind of push themselves outside their comfort zone. And then personal growth as well. We really care about helping support everyone that we bring on to grow both professionally and personally. So we really are proactive about finding opportunities that match and align with those and what we're trying to build. And finally, gratitude. Everything that we do, we're so grateful to have this opportunity to be able to help so many alums across the community. So every day we make sure to remind ourselves of the unique opportunity we have to work together and to really help foster more success in the CMU community. And a little bit about the applications, and we'll link to this deck so you can see these links afterwards. But the application deadline is on the 21st, so about a week and a half out. Quick overview of the timeline. We'll be interviewing folks for the team throughout March, and then we'll be kicking off the entire board of about 30 people in April. And so April will be hitting the ground running with all these different teams, which you'll hear from in a little bit. And kind of a summary of what we're looking for, what we really care about is people that are passionate about giving back and supporting the CMU community, people that can really take ownership over projects and drive them from ideation to execution from 0 to 1. And finally, folks that are willing to put in the time and see value from both an opportunity for personal growth as well as giving back and supporting the CMU community. So without further ado, like I was mentioning, you'll hear from each of these teams. So each of the heads will be giving an overview of what they have in mind for this coming year and beyond. And I will hand things back off to Geetanjali.
Thank you. Thanks so much for the wonderful introduction. It was great to hear from you, Kishan and Will. Now jumping right into it, we will hear from each of the board departments. And so this is our leadership team so far. You'll hear from each one of us today and also be able to participate in breakout sessions with each of us. So builder community, you're up.
Awesome, I can kick this one off. So hi everyone, I'm Rachel. I currently lead data science at Basis Adventures, a seed stage VC firm in San Francisco. And I'm co-heading the builder community with Doug. So I'm sure many of you can relate to the struggle of having a laundry list of cool ideas for tools or side projects that you want to build, but you never seem to be able to find time to actually work on them. This is why we're founding the T&E Builder community with the mission of empowering alumni to bring these ideas to life. We believe with a strong collaborative community and a bit of structure and programming, we can encourage alumni to actively work on side projects and hopefully eventually accelerate these side projects into startups.
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Doug, co-heading this initiative with Rachel. Right now, I'm a backend engineer at Clumio, a startup based in Santa Clara. And I think just to take a step back, a question that we like to ask ourselves is, who is a builder? Like, who are we creating this community for? I think in a general sense, we think of builders as either people who pursue side projects outside of work or go above and beyond their defined role at work. So, maybe your work only defines you to be working on functions A, B, C, but you go above and beyond and you're constantly, tinkering, working on X, Y, and Z. And this community really has five main functions, in our opinion. The first one is helping you find that spark, right? Helping you ideate, helping you jam on new ideas with folks in the community. The second one is feeding the flame. So helping you develop a structured system around accountability, helping you make good progress on your side projects from a week to week, month to month basis. The third one is creating strong feedback loops with others in the community. So, hopefully the idea is you can find, if you're building something for the first time, you can find your beta users in the community itself, find folks to give you feedback on your product, find those people. And it's directly tied to the fourth point, which is building lasting relationships. So we want to be able to make, high impact intros, introduce you to people that could make a difference in either your project or your idea. And last but not least is, accelerating these projects into startups if that's what makes sense. Currently, the status of Builder Community is that we're honing in on a final proposal, and we're looking to launch the first iteration of this program in the next 3 months. And we actually have prior experience with something that we launched last year called CMU Future Founders. So we have experiences building communities, and we would be more than happy to share those learnings as well. So if you're passionate about building or you're passionate about creating opportunities for builders, definitely come join Rachel and I in our breakout room to learn more about this initiative. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Doug and Rachel. Next, we have event series.
Hey everyone, I'm Tiffany and I'm the head of event series. I'm currently an engineer in a seed stage fintech startup called Merchant Candy, and I'm very happy to be here today to tell you about the event series team. And as you can probably infer from the title, the team is responsible for T&E event programming. So unlike the community experience team, which you will hear about a little later, the event series team plans external facing events for folks who are CMU affiliates who might or might not be in the T&E community. And some of you might have already attended some of our events before. Included here on the slides are some of the past events we have hosted. The mission for the event series team is to just provide CMU alumni with insights and knowledge through high quality event programming. And in terms of goals, we hope to provide educational content through structured events. We want to help alumni who aspire to found company to learn more about the startup ecosystem. And for those who are curious to learn about other knowledge areas, say a new technology trend or a different industry, to just hear from those who know it best, namely the speakers. And ultimately, we want to be the platform for alumni to connect. We want to help people gain insight from CMU founders, industry experts, or those who are more seasoned and knowledgeable. And I have to say, it always surprises just how accomplished CMU alumni are and the amazing things they go on doing. And so by shedding light on those unique stories and journeys, we want to foster a stronger sense of community and just help each other be more aware that the CMU network is always here to support your endeavor. And so that being said, we do have exciting events planned for 2021. So do stick around the breakout rooms and you can hear more about those initiatives in details. And so I'll move on to the next team.
Thanks, Tiffany. Next is community experience, and that's me. Hi, everyone. I'm Gitanjali. I'm currently a product manager at an advanced materials company. I'm based out of Chicago. Community experience, I'm very excited about being the head of this department because I feel like this is the key essence to building a strong network. And our mission is basically to build a strong sense of community for all of our members and make sure we're bringing active value to each member and each unit. And through this, the main backbone of this department will be leading the Slack community and also programming a lot of internal networking opportunities and events. We'll also be focusing a lot on micro communities such as AI, ML, and do a lot of event programming and community bonding through each of these micro communities within our larger Slack workspace as well. So next up, we have design.
Hey all, nice to meet you. I am Emily. I currently work as a product designer for Palantir Technologies. I lead up the design for T&E. I've kind of built up this branding from scratch, but looking to build a really awesome team of designers and like motion people and like webmasters to kind of build out like a really strong online and physical presence for T&E. So really it's about crafting the visual experience, whether that's on web, whether that's through posters, whether it's social media and programs. And our goals really are just to define a strong brand and digital identity online. It's not just the pixels or like the colors that you see, but I think T&E is such a really ambitious organization with a lot of sprawling efforts. Even to start telling that story and for someone to understand what we do immediately is quite a daunting task. So it's really fun kind of distilling everyone's ideas into like really quick blurbs. Two, working really, really closely with marketing to ensure designs assets are timely to any event or program launches. We both have like one-off events, really large program things like our Future Founders program we launched last year. So lots of touch points like across the web. And then last, identify any experience gaps in the program and suggest digital solutions. Kind of taking off our branding hat for a second, I think the T&E member experience is something that's really different to each person, but how can we continue to enhance that experience, be able to provide information when people are seeking it, be able to understand when they need something or they want something, they know exactly where they can find that information. Next slide. Unlike the other groups, we're hiring a lot of different like facets to kind of like volunteer their efforts, looking for all different types of designers, communication design, brand design, web design, experience designer, service design, any combination of designer who is really passionate about storytelling and experience would love to like partner to build out this community. And then the next slide. We also are starting to build out our YouTube like content strategy, which will involve a lot of fun like motion graphics and video content editing. And we also have a really strong website presence that we built on Webflow. So looking for a webmaster who is passionate about front-end development and lots of new ideas on the horizon for a website as well. I'll pass it off to the next department.
Hey everyone, I'm Nick, and I'm the head of marketing and communications. I have worked at a bunch of startups and mid-sized companies since graduating from CMU a couple of years ago. And right now I'm at Noventis as a senior data scientist. Coming back to marketing and communications, what our what our goal really is to ensure that we continue to spread and publish news about all the awesome products and companies that CMU alumni are building, and ensure that we partner with all the teams that you just heard from right now, as well as our partners at CMU Alumni Association and Schwartz, to ensure that we engage with our community across different marketing and communication channels, including social media. So we are hiring folks across two functions. Well, one would be content creators who would actually create a lot of the marketing content and partner largely with the design team to ensure that we create content that is engaging. And on the other hand, we are also hiring or looking for volunteers who can manage different marketing channels, with our main goal being that we manage the different channels that we have and continue to gain followership as well as traction for our community. This is it from my side. We can move to the next slide.
Alrighty, hey all, I'm Drew. I'm an engineer at Secret, a late stage robotics company. And for operations, we're kind of the internal department within T&E. So we're really focused on process and building that out. We are, building a new work structure. So there's a lot of process that we're building out. There's a lot of rules that we're building in the playbook. So that's going to be a major focus for the operations team. And primarily, this is going to be a very entrepreneurial department within the org. Since we're building the rule book, there's a lot of things that haven't been covered yet. So if you see yourself as someone who's kind of a generalist, you're comfortable with running events, you're comfortable with starting up new initiatives, that's really what operations is going to be. We're going to be kind of all over the place and solving the problems as they crop up. Specifically, we're kind of acting as the oil in the machine, right? So we're looking for helpers. Our primary goal is to make the other departments be able to do their best work. And whenever we find weaknesses within the org that aren't covered by the departments, it's our job to figure out how to solve that, whether that's the creation of new roles, new processes, or just solving it ourselves as operations. So if that sounds interesting to you, join my breakout room and we'll chat more about it.
Awesome. Hey everyone, I'm going to be providing you an overview of the founder community and the angel community. The one thing worth noting here is all the other teams that have talked and shared what they're building out right now, those are the teams that we're looking to immediately build out and what will be the focus at least for the next few months. Specifically for the founder community and the angel community, we're actually going to be prioritizing that later in this year. So we're looking for folks that are interested in being involved as an advisor or potentially leading this community, but we don't have an open role for that explicitly because we're going to be prioritizing that a little bit later in this year. So go back to founder. So for the founder community, it's pretty clear what we're trying to achieve. We're really trying to help more CMU founders succeed. So on the right, you can see we have so many incredible CMU founded companies, and this is only kind of a sample of them. Like I was saying in the beginning, a big part of our efforts is to really help publicize the successful ventures that we do have. And from this incredible group, they can serve as a really strong mentorship from up and coming CMU founders. So you might see some popular names in here. Probably most of you are familiar with at least Duolingo, but I think many people are surprised to find some other names like Coursera and Carta, which you might know of, to also be CMU founded. Sprout Social and Affirm also just IPO'd recently this year. And a bunch of these companies you might recognize as well, Adobe, IDEO. We've had so many successes. So we really already have such a strong foundation for successful CMU founders. So we're really looking to connect existing founders with each other to help support each other, but really build the infrastructure to help them succeed. So a lot of this will be centered around community, connecting founders together. A big part will be fundraising, helping founders connect with angels and investors to raise. Connections, getting founders access to customers, partners, or industry experts, really leveraging the broad alumni base that we have across the CMU network. And hiring, obviously hiring, critical aspect, and we really want to connect CMU founders with the CMU talent that we have in the community. Next slide. And the angels community is a really core part to this whole ecosystem that we're building. Angels play a very important role well beyond just the capital that they're investing. They really provide a really strong source for belief capital, helping founders take that leap, giving them mentorship, connections. So the two goals that we really have here is how can we build a community of angels to better support CMU founders and those that are starting companies? And how do we create, inspire, and empower more CMU angels in the community? We have so many really strong operators across the CMU network, but the clarity on understanding what it takes to be an angel investor, how to get involved, and how to be a good investor can sometimes be ambiguous. So we're really also focusing on just bringing together CMU angels, being able to provide the resources and the support and network to help them become more successful angel investors and more actively support those that are starting companies. And some of you might be familiar with 99 Tartans. This is the CMU Angel Syndicate that we have. I'll drop a link into the chat in a minute, but we work very closely with them, and they'll be an active part in trying to help build out this very strong ecosystem for angels and connecting them with founders across the ecosystem. So hopefully hearing about these initiatives gives you some clear insight into what we're looking to build and how much there is for each of them and how much value that will drive to the community. We put together this flywheel as a way to kind of tie everything together, and hopefully this will help visualize how everything pieces together and supports one another. So the T&E community is kind of what we have today. It's really centered around bringing all alumni together. So we have so many different parts that we're going to continuously double down on. We have the event infrastructure. We have the Slack community to connect people, facilitating opportunities across the network. And as Geethanjali is mentioning, creating these micro communities to really bring together people in these interest groups. So this will continue to be the core foundation for what we build, really helping connect the right people together and giving the events and connections to really help alumni succeed. But as you heard Doug and Rachel talk about, a core initiative that we're going to be focusing on initially is going to be building out the builder community. So the builder community itself, as they mentioned, is focused on really helping inspire more people to work and build side projects. But for each of these communities that we're building out, I think the real magic happens when you start to create these loops between these communities, where each community serves as the supply and demand for another community. So we see the builder community being able to really leverage the broader CMU T&E network for early feedback and adoption, while the builder community creating a stronger culture around building and starting things. And then, as I mentioned, we also have the founder community. The founder community on its own will serve as a really strong resource for the founders themselves. But again, it'll be really interesting once you start to connect it with these existing communities that we have. So the founders will serve as a really strong source of mentorship and inspiration for those that are working on the side projects. And hopefully a lot of those that are working on new things will be able to graduate and start companies and be able to join this founder community. And with the T&E community itself, founders will be able to tap into the broader T&E network for customers and talent, as well as serve as a really strong inspiration and share their insights about their journey as they go on. And finally, the angel community itself will be a really valuable resource for those that are looking to get into angel investing and becoming better angel investors. But they're going to be a really core part of this founder community and really helping empower more founders to succeed, as well as for founders being able to provide deal flow for that angel community. So hopefully this gives you a little bit more broader insight into kind of how we see these things playing out into the ecosystem that we're building. This is kind of the priority for this year. And kind of, as you can see moving forward, we plan to create just a lot more individual communities that are really focused on driving value to individual groups, but really building the infrastructure to really help connect and facilitate these relationships and resources across these different communities. So that was a lot. And yeah, Gitanji, take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we'll open the floor now to some general questions, and then we'll do our breakout session. So feel free to just speak up. I'd love to hear if you have any general questions for any of us. And if there's any more specific questions, we'll.
I have a question. Sounds like you had a great year last year. I'm not sure who this question's for, but give us kind of the big highlights from last year. What are you most proud of?
Yeah, I mean, the whole shift to virtual was a huge adjustment, but we're really proud of the fact that we expanded virtually and globally. So I think taking what we built in the Bay Area and really expanding across all these chapters, it's really incredible to see so many alumni in so many different pockets, especially the international chapters. I think the chapters we have in Middle East, India, and Asia were really exciting. I think the other big highlight that comes together is we put together the Future Founders program. So this Future Founders program was really focused on how do we bring together folks that are alumni that are interested in starting companies in the future. So this was like a 10-week community and extended well beyond that. And that's been super exciting because we were able to have a really strong impact on these folks, giving them kind of the inspiration and guidance that they needed. And there's been some really exciting projects that have been coming out of this, people that have met co-founders, and even some folks that have raised and started companies from there. So that's incredibly something that we're really proud of having built. And we're really looking forward to kind of building more infrastructure to do more similar things in the future.